do you know about it? I said, not too much. She said, well, check it out. She said, it's for real. He's not natural born. He has no business being president. And Phil, you're the only attorney in the country with brass you-know-what to sue Obama. So I looked into it, and 2 weeks later, I sued Obama. I sued him August 21st, 2008. That's significant because that was before the Democratic National Convention. I sued Obama, and not only Obama, I sued the Democratic National Committee. Think about it, Alex. Two different roles. Obama wanted to be president, but the Democratic National Committee, of course, wanted a Democrat as president, but they had a higher duty, in my opinion, and that is to convey to the American public that they have a qualified candidate. I expected them to do something. They didn't, because they didn't respond before the convention. He got nominated. He had his big thing at the football stadium, and a month later they filed a joint motion to dismiss, which infuriated me. It just showed that there was collusion between both of them, and I really mean that. When I filed suit August 21st, significant is, and I put out a press release, I said, Obama, if I am incorrect, prove me wrong. Show me your long form, your vault copy of your birth certificate, and I'll walk away. I'll go away. And did he show that to me? No, he didn't show that to me. What did he do? Nothing. He didn't respond to that, which is significant because, and the vault copy for your listeners is different. The vault copy of a birth certificate, and those that have a real birth certificate will know, a vault copy has the weight of the baby, the length of the baby, it has the hospital name, the doctor's signature. All of these things which I just mentioned are not on this certification of live birth. And a certification of live birth, back then, they might have changed it recently in Hawaii, what it's going to be used for, but back then, you could not even register your child for Little League. You couldn't get a passport on it. You couldn't even get a land grant in Hawaii based upon that. So, they keep trying to shove it down our throat, like you had Chris Matthews on MSNBC last week waving in front of the camera. Well, hey, Chris, watch what you're waving. You're not waving a birth certificate. Stop being phony out there. They're covering it more and more because I think part what happened with Congressman Cassell in Delaware. He held a town meeting on June 30th, 2009, and the woman stood up and said, here's my birth certificate, basically, where's Obama's birth certificate? The congressman said that he is a citizen. The whole audience booed, and since then it's really taken off. Well,
that was the point I was going to make, and we're going to play that video when we come back in the next segment, or part of it, is that this was spontaneous, and now other videos are surfacing with Democrat and Republican congressmen being booed, and whole crowds are spontaneously angry, even Democrats. This is a massive underground issue, probably the biggest issue, because I think at a fundamental level, but you're the expert, give me your inside take on this. I don't think anybody's got their finger on the pulse of this like Phil Berg, who's online with us right now. But when we come back, I want to ask you, and we're going to play this clip, the big question. Is the main issue that people are insulted by being patted on the head and said, we've shown you the birth certificate, sit down and shut up, when Kenyan newspapers are saying he was born over there and they're proud of it, his grandmother's running around on video saying he was born over there, his dad lived over there, he's got his cousin starting, riots over there with Obama advising him in the Senate how to do it. You've got Obama operating under another name, lying on college forms, sealing everything. What's making folks so upset?
This is Alex Jones. Have you heard of the Millionaire Patriot? Well, you should. He has a free handgun and 5 days of firearms training waiting for you. That's right. You can attend 5 days of world-class gun training at Front Sight Firearms Training Institute and secure a 30-state concealed weapons permit, all for pennies on the dollar. Plus, if you act fast, the Millionaire Patriot will give you a free Springfield Armory XD pistol in the caliber of your choice. I believe now is the time that you and your family need to be armed and trained to levels that exceed law enforcement and military standards. Front Sight provides such training without any boot camp mentality or drill instructor attitudes. This is real. Don't miss out. Secure a Front Sight defensive handgun course, plus a 30-state concealed weapons permit for pennies on the dollar, and get your free handgun. Go to frontsight.com today. That's FRONTSIGHT.com. Go to frontsight.com for your training and free gun.
We're going to take a few calls from Phil Berg coming up before he leaves us in about 27 minutes. 1-800-259-9231. 800-259-9231. Specifically for Phil Berg on this subject. We're going to be having him up a lot more in the future because going back last year, I said it looked like they were covering up and he was probably born in Kenya. Or certainly his mother didn't live in the United States long enough. They have laws on that to be able to then him to be president. Because you can't just have one parent who's a U.S. citizen, too, and be president. So we'll break that down with the expert Phil Berg here in just a moment and take your phone calls and play this video that's getting so much attention. But everywhere I go, people come up to me in grocery store lines and they say, Alex, what's going on with the birth certificate? And I go, he lies about everything. His name, Barack Obama, isn't even his real name. He's covering it up. Why hasn't he released it? Why, before this was an issue, did they post the fake certificate, the receipt? See, I mean, as an investigator, and anybody who's researched any basic criminology, this really looks bad. But again, to say we're kooks and nuts and bad to want it to be released, we're not bad. He needs to prove it. I mean, you got to show this to get a driver's license or to get on welfare or to join the military, but not to be president? Okay. Going now to our esteemed guest, ObamaCrimes.com. I really appreciate his courage, his doggedness, his stick-to-itness, and his instinct to get on this case. And before, we'd interview Mr. Berg a year ago about this, more than a year ago, and he'd say, well, I'm a Democrat. I like Obama. I just, where there's smoke, there's fire. Now, a lot more has come out. Run through, before we go to calls, more of the evidence of the cover-up and the fact that this is building and that first question before we hit the break, Mr. Berg, why is it now exploding? Is it the way the media just dismisses everybody and the way Obama's been caught lying about so much other stuff?
Well, I think it's because, number one, Obama's dropping in the polls. He's not coming through on the various proposals. He said he was going to be the candidate of change. And when you said, I think he's even set himself up to be blackmailed, and I think he could be blackmailed already. Think about it. Candidate of change. His cabinet is 70% Bill Clinton. Who's his Secretary of Defense? Bill Gates, left over from Bush. Does that even make sense? It doesn't make sense. And he recently talked about reducing the restrictions on travel to Cuba. Perhaps Castro has a copy of his documentation. What happens when China and Russia get it? What happens when Iran gets it? Because these papers are around there, and some of these foreign governments, they'll pay $1 million for it. But talking about $1 million, why would Obama? Why would
I got to stop you, Phil. Incredible point. All the time they catch clerks at DMVs selling 10,000 fake driver's license, $3,000 a piece. They're getting millions. They're constantly catching federal clerks selling data. You better believe foreign governments would pay $10 million for the proof.
Absolutely. What happens when Iran gets the proof? What's that going to cost us? And perhaps that's why when Obama travels overseas, every place he's going, he's been apologizing for the United States. We should.
What about bowing before the king of Saudi Arabia?
Unbelievable. And did the media make a big thing about that? Not at all. He gets a free ride. Like I say, I wish we could sue the national media. I think, though, because of what's happening at these town meetings, that tape went out and other people now are being questioned about it. It's now spreading out to more and more people. Like you said, people must show your listeners have to show their birth certificate for Little League, for driver's license, for college, for marriage, different things in different states, but for a passport. Why is Obama getting a free ride? Somebody said he loves this. He loves being out there with this because it diverts attention from other things. I disagree with that person the other day on the air on a different show. He doesn't want this thing. He had hoped it would go away with this document 2 months before I got into it, and I'm proud to say that I'm glad I got into it because since I have, it's mushroomed into lawsuits all across this country, which didn't get the media attention, but it's now getting the media attention because you have congressmen, like one congressman introduced a new bill, a new piece of legislation, which he's gotten 7 other Republicans, a Republican that introduced it, saying that as of the year 2012, anyone running for president should have to show proof that they are a natural-born citizen. Well, why are no Democrats joining into that? Because they all know that he's not natural-born. They won't join into it because that's when Obama plans to run for re-election. But I hope to legally remove him from office before that. We're not only in a financial crisis in this country. We have a constitutional crisis. Think about it. Every law that he's signed, every appointment that he's made is void or voidable. And look what he's doing now to even bypass Congress. He's appointing his czars. I think he's up to 19 czars or something like that. Each czar is going to spend $10 to $20 million for their staff because a czar doesn't have to, it's not a cabinet person, doesn't have to go through the scrutiny of the Senate. Not that the scrutiny of the Congress is so good anymore because just of what they've done here. They've been giving a rubber stamp to this guy, and it's a disgrace. And that's why I have the 3 lawsuits pending. The case is significant right now. I mentioned the Hollister case, but a significant one is, for your listeners, I filed a case that was sealed back on November 7th, 2008. And I couldn't talk about it. It wasn't sealed because I filed against Obama. It was sealed because it was filed under what's called the False Claims Act, or QUITAM, Q-U-I-T-A-M.